Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking about the latest data download that just occurred in Puzzle and Dragons. So, data downloads are always exciting because new stuff tends to arrive, and there are some new evolutions and a modest number of upgrades. So, the main interesting individual is Typhon, so a 6-star Godfist exclusive that does not need a special gem, and he does have multiple different forms. His blue form has 3 color attribute awakenings, so you think, well, rainbow-oriented teams, and their active skill is kind of unusual when I think about it. It halves this ally's attack for 1 turn, remove orb blocks, and changes the whole board to hearts, and then 9 fire, water, and light. So that means 27 of your orbs are taken up by colors, and 3 remaining orbs are hearts. You know you're guaranteed to have a 10 combo board from this, but at the same time, it only is going to actually apply for your, 3 attribute-oriented teams. Now, I feel like this kind of puts them in an awkward place. Like, you do some personal damage, you have a board changer, but it doesn't really solve mechanics. And you can argue that the Super Awakening could be Super Poison Resist, so that helps a bit, or Skill Boost Plus, so you're 6 skill boosts instead of 4, or another 3 attribute. But point of the matter is, I think they're just a little bit odd. Like, I don't quite foresee where I could truly utilize him in an efficient manner. For his weapon assist, I think it's just great from the killer's point of view. Like, we have God Killer, Balance Killer, Physical Killer. Like, there's going to be an instance where those killers will overlap and it's going to actually make a difference. It has that same active skill, so maybe don't skill it up, or maybe just put it on someone whose base skill you're going to be using on a regular basis. I feel like this is a bit more interesting just because of the fact that, 3 killers is pretty rare, and those are like 3 kind of real killers, so to speak. The next evolution Typhon has gained is his green evolution, and they've got an interesting mix of awakenings. They have a blob awakening, they've got a combo warp, they've got attack while below 50%, they have an L shield, they just kind of like, they got almost like every kind of awakenings thrown on, and their super awakenings can be another blob awakening. So double blob we know is amazingly powerful, it gives them immense amounts of personal damage, and the attack while below 50% can just push them to a higher level. And in fact, their active skill does at least synergize with what their playstyle is. You cut your own HP to 1, which can be a little dangerous, but does trigger your attack while below 50%. You fully recover Awoken Binds and Unmatchable, remove orb blocks, and change fire and light to wood. So it's a heavy orb generator with a health cut as well as a board unlock. So it can be a possible solution for like your mono wood teams if you need a cleric on your team that does deal meaningful amounts of damage for your blob based teams. I feel like this at least can have a place on various teams. I don't unfortunately have any wood blob teams, but maybe one day I will, and this can be a possibly useful evolution for that. For their green weapon assist, again, similar idea. It has 3 killers, has dragon, balance, and healer killers. So again, if those killers are relevant, you can squeeze them on a given team. Sure, that definitely could be helpful, but maybe this active skill may or may not be what you want. Again, maybe leave it unskilled if that's even allowed, or just, put it on someone whose active skill you're gonna use on a regular basis. And then the other new evolutions are these flame knights. And basically all the knights, doesn't matter which color it is, are the exact same essentially, just change the color to their respective colors. So for the Super Flame Knight, whenever it says fire, it's obviously red stuff. But for like the Blue Knight, everything is going to be blue orb oriented. So they've got many 7 combos. They can gain yet another 7 combo through their Super Awakenings or a Skill Boost Plus. Their active skill adds a single combo, voids enemies' defense for 5 turns, removes orb blocks, and then creates 3 of their respective color at random. I guess it's kind of cool, like, it's a thing, but I feel like just to get these evolution materials is going to be challenging. Like, I feel like these, kind of lower tier farmables, so to speak, are maybe possibly meant for newer players, but the dungeon that it's going to come from is going to be this Knight's Descendant, and it's going to have super gravity, and you must also utilize all attributes. So I think that's just going to be challenging to build for newer players, who I feel like these cards could be possibly useful for. And if I'm not mistaken, you need to beat the dungeon 3 times to get each banner once. So I could be mistaken. The dungeon comes out tomorrow, so it's new evolutions, but nothing that I feel is going to be particularly great unless there is going to be a challenge where you need to have low team rarity. But then again, maybe for your S ranking, maybe you want to include these guys because at 2 stars, they actually do some damage. Maybe low rarity stuff, it can be situationally useful, but again, pretty niche. But at the same time, you should probably clear the dungeon. And then Gung Ho likes to now say, hey, look, all these buffed and upgraded monsters, go look them up yourself. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So It's basically all the watches in general, like Seawolf, Nautilus, Royal Oak, Daytona, and Blackbird. So they all gained an improvement to their leader skill, and some of them gained a buff to their weapon assist. Seawolf gained a massive buff to their leader skill. They're now 909. That's absurd, and 51% damage reduction. So all, like, Seawolf, Nautilus, and Royal Oak are now exceeding 16 times effective health, which is great. But at the same time, Seawolf also gained a significant boost to their attack multiplier. So they're going to be incredibly tanky. Like, they can just sit there and just absorb punishment without even activating their leader skill with 9 times health. Like, that's quite a large amount when you really think about it. Easy recovery, much higher attack multiplier, and just more bulk. So, like, is Seawolf going to be, like, the most meta-defining card now? No, but they definitely can clear more content compared to before. But at the same time, if you already have competent leaders, maybe Seawolf's weapon assist, which wasn't changed, is still great because Bind Immunity, 7 combo rows are great for Shiva Dragons, especially in Super Gravity dungeons. For Royal Oak, their active skill was improved, if I'm not mistaken, from 10% to 15%. So their attack buff, which was kind of insignificant because you always stacked rows, now is a bit higher. Their effective health also went up because, again, they have 2.2 times health as opposed to 2 times health, and their attack multiplier has also been improved. So much higher damage output, and Royal Oak also gained a second 10 combo as opposed to double VDP. So they are going to be doing much better damage on a regular basis with a better attack buff and a much higher attack multiplier. Nautilus has also gained some additional love. They now have 777 combo. Remember when Nautilus first came out, they had no personal damage except with a VDP, but then you weren't making rows, so it was just kind of underwhelming. Well, Nautilus is kind of changing that around with a much larger, like, I don't know if his attack stat got buffed, but it's quite large now. And 777 combo. And their active skill gives, I don't know if it was 10% before, maybe it was, but it's 15%, and it's quite easy to stack wood rows. But their leader skill is, again, 2.2 times health as opposed to 2 times health, so 19.36 times effective health, like incredibly bulky, and 900 times attack, which is definitely much higher. So not only is everyone else going to hit harder, Nautilus themselves will hit twice as hard because of the extra 7 combo, and they will also just have a much higher attack multiplier. Great times all around to be Nautilus. And then for Daytona, their awakenings were condensed to the super TPA. So now they have 6 TPAs. I think they had 5 or maybe 4. More so, like, they just gain more TPAs, which in turn makes their active skill deal more damage. And their leader skill multipliers have also been improved to have a much higher damage output. It's unfortunate their effective health wasn't improved. Like, Daytona's biggest weakness was effective health, I feel, not necessarily damage output. But for all those players who are enjoying Daytona, all your subs are now going to deal significantly more damage, which is great. And then because the TPAs got condensed down, amusingly enough, they gained, if I'm not mistaken, another time extend awakening, which I think is completely worthless because one thing that I loved about Daytona teams was, not actually puzzling, so the movement time, I don't know if it's going to make a difference. And then finally for Blackbird, their attack multiplier is the only thing that got buffed. I don't recall what it was before, but now it's much higher. Again, more damage is always great because sub-attributes that are the matching color will deal more, and just your subs in general will hit harder. So those are the main notable buffs. Like, they do say that these Flame or Fire Dragon Knights and various other colored Dragon Knights receive buffs. I took a little look-see, like, they're just kind of like awkward cards that I forgot that existed. Maybe, again, for low rarity stuff, sure. And then other stuff that came out were the 10th anniversary various login bonuses, challenges, gift dungeons, but more so the one I want to draw attention to is the 100 second of orb movement time, and if you utilize this pixel puzzle droid on your team, you will receive a free Super Godfest Memorial pull, which is great because there is going to be a Super Godfest that debuts on Thursday or December 1st. Again, the rolling rates I don't know about, so I'll make a video about that tomorrow when I actually can, look at the rolling rates and see if this is actually a Godfest worth rolling in. But with that being said, those are all the new and possibly exciting things that have come out, I feel, for the most part. Some buffs, like meaningful buffs for these leaders who I still enjoy using on an occasional basis. But regardless of all that, let me know what you lovely ladies and gentlemen think about these buffs and changes in the comment section down below, and which one you are most excited for. Regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.